So I define feminism, okay, as being a movement towards egalitarianism or equity, okay, with the stated goal of diminishing and eventually destroying patriarchal systems.
Sure.
That seems to be fairly historically accurate and modernly accurate.
Yes. Movement towards equity, goal of eliminating patriarchal systems?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so when I say the word going forward enforcer, what I mean by that word is people who utilize inside of society some form of force or in order to either execute laws, right, or keep people safe in some capacity. That would be an enforcer, okay? So my argument here is that men ultimately are the enforcement arm of everybody's rights, including other men's, and that women always have to appeal to other men, and so they can't actually get rid of the patriarchy, but must instead comply with the patriarchy.
Okay.
That's my argument.
Sure. Do you want to repeat that for me just so I can take a little note?
Yeah, that women, basically feminists always have to appeal to the patriarchy for rights no matter what, and so feminism isn't even possible. It's not even a possibility.
Okay. Appeal to patriarchy for rights. Okay. So can I ask, do you believe that free will is a privilege? Or a right or a privilege? Do you believe free will is a right or a privilege?
Does free will just mean do whatever you want?
Within the extent that you're not hurting yourself or others or becoming a danger to society.
Well, then, yeah, it sure sounds like you're saying it is.
I'm sorry, what?
Then it would be trivially true that it would have to be, if you're saying that that means you can do whatever you want unless A, B, C, and D, then it would have to be a privilege.
Well, okay. So free will, as I'm defining it, is the right to do with you what you want so long as you are not infringing upon another's free will.
Then it would trivially have to be a privilege.
It would have to be a privilege.
Like, by that logic, there would be no way around it. It would have to be a privilege.
Why would it have to be a privilege?
Well, because the second you do infringe on someone's whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do you have free will?
Well, yes, to an extent. Okay, so free will with some limitations. Let's say, is free will with the limitation?
Then it's not free will.
Well, what do you want to call it, Andrew?
I mean, I would just maybe will.
Okay. Do you think that human will is a right or a privilege?
I'm not trying to figure out what you mean by this. Human will.
Like, do you think that we as a society...
How about maybe I can just do it this way? I don't believe that human beings have inherent rights.
Okay. Thank you. There we go. Human beings have no inherent rights.
Yeah. Correct. I think instead what we call rights are actually just collective intuitions which are appealed to force, and then force enforces them.
Okay, so all law, are you trying to say that basically all laws are enforced through force, or just
Yeah.
generally?
So all laws ultimately.
All laws are enforced by force. Okay.
Yeah. So if you think about this, the way that I would say is like, do you agree with me that rights themselves are a social construction?
I mean, not really.
So my right to own a gun is not a social construction?
Yeah, but I'm talking about free will, not like human, like...
What is that? I don't understand, though. Like, you being able to act in will, I wouldn't dispute with. Like,
yes,
you can...
That's what I'm saying.
You can take actions with your will, but when you say rights, you're saying that those are privileges absent duties. That's a right. And then a duty, right, would be essentially the opposite of what a right is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so these privileges that you're talking about, I think if that's what a right is, a privilege absent a duty, then they all seem like they're privileges.
Okay, but like you don't think that... I guess my issue with this argument is that it's claiming that power is based solely on force.
Yes.
Which to me seems like it's advocating on behalf of violence.
I mean,
in order to enforce and maintain.
Well, yeah,
power.
that's what force would be. Raw force would be violence.
Okay.
So that's what it does. Like we advocate that police be able to use violence in order to enforce laws, right?
But we would prefer that they avoid it, right?
Yeah,
Like
but ultimately, what makes people comply? The threat of violence, right?
But there are other ways to get people to comply, no?
Yeah, but what if they don't?
Well, I mean, yes, but I feel like that's a bit of an extreme. Like,
No, it's not a bit of an extreme that people don't comply.
but how does the president have power? He can't threaten violence
That's
against every
all he
single
does.
member.
He is the commander-in-chief of the United States military.
But he can't threaten and so basically, you believe that we function in a society solely because if we don't, we will be violently hurt by the military.
What? No. I believe that that all of your privileges that you have in society that you're calling rights only actually exist because of force, the idea of force and force doctrine, and that is basically 100% men who provide that.
Okay, so you're kind of giving this like might makes right argument.
Just makes, not makes right.
So just might is right.
No, just makes, not makes right. Right would be a prescriptive ought claim for morality. I'm making a descriptive claim, which is that descriptively might makes.
So do you not believe that violence is immoral?
Of course not. Depends on the circumstance.
You generally just don't believe that violence is immoral.
It depends on the circumstance.
I mean, violence in an attempt to control others and usurp
Again,
their
that depends on
ability.
the circumstance. I think there's plenty of times where you and I would agree that using violence to control others is totally acceptable.
I feel like violence is necessary in self-defense and the
No, you
defense
don't.
of
You think
someone
that
else.
violence is completely acceptable to control prison inmates, probably to execute certain laws and search warrants, to do all sorts of things.
Violence is necessary. Again, those are both actions in self-defense or defense of others.
How is that?
If
when
two
you say-
inmates are fighting,
when you're
and you're
saying
trying to break
using
up that fight so
yeah,
that one of them
violence
doesn't
to
die,
but it's violence to
that would
control
be-
others, right?
but it would be in defense of others.
Yeah, but it's still to control others.
It's in defense of others.
Okay,
though.
what if those people, like inmates, don't want to be defended?
So that's what we're talking about. Well, I mean, if someone is beating another person to death, I'm sure that the person
If
who's
it's mutual
dying,
combat, they both want to do it. The guards then go and break it up. They're
They want
definitely
to
using
die?
violence for control. Not die, but fight.
Okay, but if someone is beating someone else to death, and you are
Yeah,
using
but that's
violence
not.
to prevent
See,
that, then
you
you're
see
using
how
violence.
you negate the claim, so you move to the next claim. Can
not
two
negating
people
the claim.
be fighting and then you use violence to break that up?
Yes.
Okay, great. So then you can use violence to control people, and it's perfectly acceptable.
It's not acceptable though because it's the reason it's acceptable is because it's in defense of another person.
Those people want to fight. Who are you defending?
If one of them is dying or if one of them is
One
very
of them
badly
is not
hurt,
dying. They
you are
just
defending.
want to fight. They're not dying, but they just want to fight.
Okay, sure. So two prison inmates. But again, you're using these like really, really, really stringently specific.
Yeah, because if we go too broad and too general, then if we hone it down, then I can negate your stance because what you're saying doesn't actually make logical sense.
But you're honing it down to a specific example
Mm-hmm.
that is not representative of the entire population of the United States. I feel like we should use an example
What
that
is
less-
representative of the entire population of the
Not
United
two
States?
prisoners who choose to fight to the death.
Well, what
I
is?
mean, that's the furthest thing
No,
from
no,
the
no.
truth.
But when you make a claim, you make this claim. You say, Andrew, violence is only just, or violence isn't justified to control groups of people. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't really believe that because I can give you examples of groups of people who you would want to control with violence and you think it's totally acceptable. And you're like, yeah, that's true.
Well, those people have lost the right to free will by committing
but
a
hang
crime.
on. You go, yeah, that's true. But, right, I still now don't want to use that example. It's like, that makes no sense. It's a refutation to your position. That's why I hone in on it.
Okay, so people, we know this through the Constitution, essentially relinquish their right to free will by threatening the free will of others. That's why prisoners are allowed to go to jail, and that is constitutionally accepted. Yes.
Say that. Let me make sure I got that right. Say that again.
People essentially relinquish their right to free will, the right to walk around and be free in society as a prisoner, because they have committed a crime that is a danger to themselves or others and threatens
That's
the
incorrect.
fabric of society. So
No.
why do people go to jail? Why are crimes crimes? Why are things that are bad?
People
bad?
go to jail because we force them into jail after they commit crimes, not because they're willingly going to jail for
I
their
understand that they're
crimes.
not willingly going to jail, but what I'm saying is the forced relinquishment of free will in this instance is morally acceptable because they have committed a crime that threatens themselves or others.
Yeah, I'm not disputing whether or not it's moral. That
Yes.
would make my point for me, though.
So I'm not trying to talk about those who have already had their free will relinquished on the basis that they have committed a crime that threatens themselves or others. I'm trying to talk about people who are not criminals, who have not relinquished their free will, who are here in this country and deserve the right to choose what they do with themselves and their bodies.